My name is Emily Carter, and I'm the lobby manager at Riverside Grand Hotel in Seattle. At 45, people start reminding you of your age like it's a ticking clock. Emily, you're hitting menopause soon, my doctor said during a routine checkup, handing me pamphlets on hormone therapy. Take it easy. But easy isn't in my vocabulary. I've been through too much to slow down now. My ex-husband, Tom, left me high and dry after 20 years, taking half our savings and leaving me with our son, Alex, who at 25 still acts like a teenager. Alex lives with me in our modest apartment in a suburb of Seattle, where the rent eats up most of my paycheck. His wife, Sarah, is pregnant, and they've turned my living room into a makeshift nursery, complete with baby clothes scattered everywhere. Money's always tight. My pension from the hotel chain is projected at about $2,500 a month when I retire, hardly enough for the golden years they promise in those TV ads. "Marry me, Emily," an old flame joked once over coffee. "We'll pool our Social Security and live like kings on $5,000 combined." I laughed it off, but inside, it stung. With Alex's gambling habits draining whatever extra I have, I barely scrape by. He's always promising to quit, but last month alone, I bailed him out of $3,000 in debts. "Mom, this is the last time," he says, eyes pleading. But it's never the last time. Family gatherings are the worst. My mother-in-law, Gladys, lives with us now, her sharp tongue a constant reminder of why Tom and I divorced. "Emily, you're 45, practically over the hill," she snapped one evening while I cooked dinner. "Who's going to want a woman your age? And with that son of yours? Forget it." She spends her days playing bingo at the senior center and watching reality TV, criticizing everything from my cooking to my choice in men. You need a real provider, not these losers you've been dating. Dating, that's another chapter of humiliation. After Tom, I tried apps like Match and Bumble, but the men were either looking for a fling or came with more baggage than an airport carousel. One guy, a 60-year-old retiree named Frank, propositioned me on our first coffee date. "I've got a pension of $4,000 a month," he bragged. "Marry me, and you'll live easy. We could even have a kid. I'm still virile." I nearly spit out my latte. "Frank, you're pushing 70. I'm not starting over." He laughed it off, but his eyes turned cold. "Women your age should be grateful." Then there was the blind date set up by a friend from Zumba. His name was Mike Thompson, 50, a cab driver from the city. Simple guy, no frills. We met at a diner near the hotel. He showed up in a worn jacket, smiling shyly. "Emily, I don't have much. Just hoping for companionship," he said, stirring his coffee. "Someone to share meals with, take care of each other." It was refreshing after the braggarts, no talk of money or conquests. We chatted about life, my job, his long hours on the road. By the end, he walked me to my car. "Let's do this again?" I nodded, feeling a spark for the first time in years. But back home, the chaos waited. Alex stormed in that night, demanding money for one last bet. Sarah hovered, rubbing her belly, while Gladys lectured me on settling down before it's too late. I retreated to my room, staring at the ceiling. Mike seemed genuine, but could I trust again? Little did I know, that simple cab driver was about to upend everything I thought I knew about love, family, and hidden truths. Dating Mike felt like a breath of fresh air in my suffocating routine. Our second date was a walk along the Puget Sound, watching ferries glide by under a gray Seattle sky. He listened as I vented about work, the entitled guests, the long shifts, and shared stories from his cab rides, quirky passengers, late-night confessions. "Life's about the small moments, Emily," he said, handing me a hot dog from a street vendor. "Not the big bank accounts." But family pressures mounted. Alex's gambling escalated. He lost $5,000 on sports bets, begging me to cover it. "Mom, Sarah needs prenatal care. Don't let us down." Gladys chimed in. "If you married that retiree I set you up with, we'd have money to spare. The retiree was Harold, a 65-year-old widower with a modest house and a $3,500 monthly pension. On our blind date, he demanded, "Second marriage means a bigger dowry, $50,000 up front for my kids." I walked out, fuming. "Emily, you're worthless without money," he texted later. It reinforced why I liked Mike. No demands, just quiet support. We married after 3 months, a quick courthouse ceremony. "Let's make this work," Mike whispered, slipping a simple band on my finger. No honeymoon. We moved into his rented bungalow in a quiet neighborhood. It was cozy, with a small yard and outdated kitchen, but it felt like home. "We'll build from here," he said. I quit worrying about luxury. Companionship was enough. Trouble started immediately. Alex and Sarah showed up unannounced, crashing on our couch. "Mom, we're evicted. Help us." Gladys followed, criticizing everything. "This place is a dump. Emily, you married a cab driver? What about our family?" Mike stayed calm, cooking meals and offering advice. But Alex's debts piled up, $10,000 now, and he pressured me. "Your new hubby should chip in. He's family." One night, after a heated argument where Gladys called Mike a broke nobody, I broke down. "Why can't they leave us alone?" Mike held me. "We'll handle it together." But whispers started. Neighbors gossiping about my downgrade from Tom. At work, my rival, Vanessa, a fellow manager, sneered, "Heard you married a driver. Downgraded much?" She flaunted her boyfriend, a mid-level exec at Cascade Corp, earning $80,000 a year plus bonuses. Mike's boss called often, late-night pickups for important clients. I suspected nothing until a coworker mentioned seeing him open doors for VIPs at the hotel. "Your husband's got connections," she joked. I brushed it off. Meanwhile, Alex's mess escalated. Loan sharks threatened him over $15,000. "Mom, bail me out or they'll hurt me." I pawned jewelry, scraping $5,000, but it wasn't enough. During a Zumba class, Vanessa confronted me. "Your life's a joke, broke husband, leech son." We argued over space. Her yoga elite group claimed the best spot. "We're professionals. You amateurs move." I stood my ground, but inside, doubt crept in. Was Mike really just a driver? And could our fragile happiness survive my family's greed? Living with Mike was like finding a quiet harbor after years of stormy seas. We had these little moments that made everything feel worthwhile. Lazy Sunday brunches at our favorite Greasy Spoon diner downtown, where we'd share pancakes and talk about nothing important. He'd make me laugh with stories from his cab rides, like the time a tourist insisted on paying with Canadian coins. But no matter how hard I tried to build this new life, my family's poison seeped in, turning those joys into constant battles. It started with Alex's gambling spiraling out of control. One rainy evening, he burst through our front door, his face pale and sweaty, looking like he'd seen a ghost. "Mom, they're after me," he gasped, collapsing onto the couch. "I owe these guys $20,000 from some bad bets. If I don't pay up soon, they're gonna hurt me bad." Sarah waddled in behind him, her belly huge with the baby, tears streaming down her face. "Emily, please," she begged, clutching her stomach. "We need help. The baby's coming any day now, and we can't afford this stress." Gladys, who had somehow invited herself to stay just for a few days, jumped in with her usual venom. "See what happens when you marry a nobody like that cab driver? If you'd listened to me and gone for someone with real money, like that nice widower Harold I set you up with, we wouldn't be in this mess. You're being selfish, Emily. Think about your son and that grandbaby." Mike, who had been quietly reading the newspaper in the corner, set it down and stepped forward, his voice steady and calm. "Hey, everyone. Let's not panic. Alex, sit down and tell us exactly what happened. How did the debt get this high? And who are these people?" But Alex just sneered, crossing his arms defiantly. What do you know about it, Mike? You're just a cab driver scraping by on tips. This is family business. Mom's the one who always bails me out. I felt my stomach twist. I'd already dipped into our emergency fund too many times for Alex's last chances. But before I could respond, there was a loud banging on the door. Mike opened it cautiously, and in stormed two rough-looking guys in leather jackets, their eyes cold and threatening. "Where's the money, kid?" one growled, shoving past Mike to glare at Alex. "You owe us $20,000, and we're not leaving without it, or we'll take it out in blood." The other one cracked his knuckles, adding, "Yeah, and don't think we won't drag your family into this if you don't pay up fast." My heart raced as I pulled out my checkbook, scraping together $10,000 from what little savings we had. "Here, take this. It's all I can get right now," I said, my voice shaking, but it wasn't enough. Mike slipped away quietly and returned with the rest in cash, handing it over without a word. "How did you get that?" I whispered later, after they'd left. He just shrugged, a small smile on his face. "Side gigs, Emily. Don't worry about it." Things weren't much better at work. Vanessa, my rival manager, had just gotten engaged to her boyfriend, a slick executive at a tech firm pulling in $100,000 a year plus bonuses. She flaunted her diamond ring like a trophy, cornering me in the break room one day. "Look at this rock, Emily. My man's got stock options and a corner office. Meanwhile, you're stuck with that cab driver hubby of yours. Must be tough scraping by on minimum wage tips." Her words stung, especially when she started undermining me in meetings. During one staff huddle, I presented a new check-in system I developed to streamline guest arrivals. But Vanessa interrupted, claiming, "Actually, that was my idea. I mentioned it last week." My boss, Mr. Hayes, nodded approvingly at her. "Great work, Vanessa. Emily, maybe stick to the basics for now. We need reliable execution, not experiments." The real explosion came at a family dinner I foolishly hosted to bring everyone together. Gladys wasted no time, slamming her fork down midway through the meal. "Emily, this has gone on long enough. You need to divorce that Mike fellow and marry Harold. He's offering a $40,000 settlement just to get things started. Think about Alex and the baby. We could use that money for a down payment on a house or to pay off debts." Alex nodded eagerly, stuffing his face with lasagna. "Yeah, Mom. Come on. We need the cash. The baby's nursery isn't cheap, and Sarah deserves better than crashing on your couch." Sarah looked uncomfortable but stayed silent. Mike's face fell, and he excused himself quietly, retreating to the bedroom. I followed later, finding him staring out the window. "They're draining me, Mike," I confessed, tears welling up. "I love you, but this constant pressure, I don't know how much more I can take." He pulled me into a hug, his voice soft. "We'll set some boundaries, Emily. Tell them no more bailouts, no more demands. We're a team now. They can't keep treating you like this." But fate had other plans. A massive storm hit Seattle that week, and Sarah went into premature labor during the downpour. We rushed her to the hospital, where chaos reigned in the ER. Doctors kept prioritizing a wealthy patient's wife, the daughter of the hospital dean, leaving Sarah writhing in pain in a hallway bed. "Please, she's in agony," I pleaded with a nurse. "Can't someone check on her?" The nurse sighed. "Sorry, ma'am, but the dean's daughter is high priority. All hands on deck for her routine checkup." Mike arrived soaked from the rain, his phone in hand. "I'll handle this," he said, stepping away to make a few calls. Minutes later, a team of top obstetricians rushed over, wheeling Sarah into a private room. "How did you pull that off?" I asked, stunned. He winked vaguely. "Connections from driving VIPs around town. Sometimes you meet the right people." Our granddaughter Lily arrived safely, a tiny bundle with big eyes that melted my heart. But Alex disappeared right after, off gambling again. The lenders kidnapped him over another $30,000 debt. A frantic call came. "Pay up, or he's done for." Mike orchestrated the rescue, calling in favors from friends in high places. Alex emerged bruised but alive, swearing, "This is it, Mom. I promise to change." I wanted to believe him, but doubt lingered. Gladys, of course, blamed me. "This is all because of your poor choice in men, Emily. If you'd married rich, none of this would have happened." Vanessa's taunts reached a fever pitch at a hotel staff event. She cornered me by the punch bowl, smirking. "Heard about your son's latest mess? Your life's a total disaster. Why not divorce that loser driver and find someone who can actually provide?" I snapped back, "Mind your own business, Vanessa. My life isn't your entertainment." Rumors spread like wildfire. I was unstable and unreliable. Mr. Hayes pulled me into his office for a warning. "Emily, shape up, or we might have to let you go." Mike comforted me that night, holding me close. "You're stronger than all of them, Emily. We'll get through this." But as I lay awake, questions nagged. Why did powerful people seem to defer to him? And how long could our secrets, whatever they were, stay hidden before everything unraveled? Suspicion started creeping into my mind like fog rolling in off the Puget Sound, slow at first but thickening until I couldn't ignore it anymore. Mike's so-called cab life had always seemed straightforward. He'd head out early, come back late, smelling faintly of coffee in city streets. But lately, there were these little inconsistencies that nagged at me. He'd disappear for what he called long shifts, but when he returned, he'd be wearing these crisp, tailored suits that looked like they cost more than our monthly rent. "Client requested formal attire," he'd explain with a casual shrug, hanging the jacket in the closet like it was no big deal. I'd nod and smile, but inside, questions bubbled up. One evening, after a particularly exhausting shift at the hotel where I dealt with a rude VIP demanding room upgrades, I decided to tidy up our bedroom while Mike was out on another night run. I wasn't snooping, not really, just organizing the cluttered drawer in his nightstand. That's when I found it. A folded property deed, crisp and official looking, with our bungalow's address printed at the top. But what stopped my heart was the name on it. Mine. Emily Carter, sole owner. "What the hell is this?" I whispered to myself, unfolding it carefully. The date was from right after our wedding, and it was signed over to me without any mention of Mike. My hands shook as I read it again. We were renting this place, or so I thought. How could he afford to buy it outright? And why hide it? When Mike got home that night, I couldn't hold it in. I was sitting on the edge of the bed, the deed in my lap, the room lit only by the bedside lamp. He walked in, loosening his tie, another one of those fancy suits, and smiled at me. "Hey, Em, tough day?" he asked, leaning down to kiss my forehead. I held up the paper. "Mike, what's this? The deed to the house in my name? You told me we were renting. How did you even afford this?" He froze for a second, then sat down beside me, rubbing his temples like he was buying time. "Emily, it's a surprise. I wanted to give it to you when the time was right. I saved up over the years, did some smart investments on the side. Nothing fancy, just enough to secure a place for us." "Investments? From driving a cab?" I pressed, my voice rising a little. "Mike, that doesn't add up. Suits, late nights, and now this? Are you in some kind of trouble? Debt? Something illegal?" He looked hurt, reaching for my hand. No, nothing like that. I swear. I've just been careful with money. Please, trust me. I did it for us, for security. With your family always needing help, I wanted you to have something solid." I pulled back, not convinced. "My family? Don't bring them into this. You've been so good about helping with Alex's messes, but now I'm wondering where all that cash comes from. Tell me the truth, Mike. No more surprises." He sighed deeply, his eyes meeting mine. "Emily, I promise. It's all above board. Give me a little time. I'll explain everything soon. Just know I love you, and this is for our future." I wanted to believe him, but the seed of doubt was planted, And it grew faster when the neighborhood demolition notices arrived in the mail a few days later. Our quiet suburb was being redeveloped into high-rises, and letters informed us we'd have to vacate soon. I panicked, showing Mike the notice over breakfast. What are we going to do? We just got settled here. And now this? Rent's going up everywhere. We can't afford to move. He glanced at it calmly, sipping his coffee. Don't worry, Em. We'll upgrade to something better. I've got it handled. Handled how? I snapped, frustration boiling over. With more mystery money? Mike, this isn't funny. We're not young anymore. I need stability, not secrets. He set down his mug and took my hands. I know, and I'm sorry if it's stressing you out. Trust me, we'll be fine. Better than fine. Just a little longer, okay? I nodded reluctantly, but the unease lingered. At work, things weren't helping my mood. Vanessa, my rival manager with her perfectly coiffed hair and smug attitude, had been escalating her attacks. She'd always had it out for me, especially since her engagement to that mid-level exec at Cascade Corp, who pulled in $100,000 a year with bonuses. She flaunted it constantly. New designer bags, weekend getaways. During a team meeting, she undermined me again, claiming credit for a guest satisfaction initiative I'd spearheaded. Emily's ideas are cute, but I refined them into something actionable, she said with a fake smile, while Mr. Hayes nodded approvingly. After the meeting, I confronted her in the break room. Vanessa, that was my project. Why are you stealing credit? She laughed, stirring her latte. Oh, Emily, don't be so sensitive. In this industry, it's survival of the fittest. With your situation at home, maybe you should focus on basics. Heard about your cab driver hubby? Must be tough scraping by. My face burned. Leave my personal life out of it. We're colleagues. Act like it. She leaned in, whispering, Colleagues? Please. With my fiancé's connections, I'll be running this place soon. You? Demoted to greeter duty if you're not careful. Mr. Hayes called me in later, warning of performance issues. Emily, focus on the lobby. Leave the big ideas to Vanessa. I left fuming, feeling invisible. Adding to the mess, a ghost from my dating past reappeared. Harold, the 65-year-old retiree with the $3,500 pension who demanded a dowry on our blind date, texted out of the blue. Emily, heard you're married to a driver. Mistake. I'm offering $60,000 to buy you back. Leave that loser. I blocked him, but he showed up at the hotel lobby one afternoon, flowers in hand. Emily, darling, he boomed, loud enough for guests to hear. Reconsider. My pension's secure, we could travel. Your current setup? Pathetic. I pulled him aside, whispering furiously. Harold, get out. I'm happily married. This is harassment. He smirked. Happily? With a broke cabbie? Think of your son. Alex needs stability. $60,000 could fix his debts. Don't be foolish. How do you know about Alex? I demanded. Word gets around. Gladys mentioned it at bingo. She's right. You settled too low. I shoved him toward the door. Leave now, or I'll call security. He left laughing. You'll regret this. That night I vented to Mike over dinner. Harold showed up, offering money like I'm for sale. And Gladys is gossiping. It's humiliating. Mike's jaw tightened. I'm sorry, Em. You don't deserve this. I'll talk to Gladys. No, it's my mess. But with Alex's debts piling up, it's overwhelming. Speaking of which, the breaking point came soon after. Alex called in a panic. Mom, I owe $50,000 more. Lenders are threatening Sarah and the baby. He showed up at our door, bruised and terrified. Please, one last time. I broke down. Alex, we've given so much already. Where does it end? Mike stepped in. Let me handle it. He made calls, and miraculously, the debt vanished, paid anonymously. How, Mike? That's a fortune. He hesitated. I pulled strings. Don't worry. But I worried. Digging online, I found photos from a Cascade Holdings gala. Mike, labeled Michael Harrington, chairman, schmoozing with elites. My heart sank. He wasn't a driver, he was a billionaire. Confrontation exploded that evening. I thrust the printouts at him. "You're a chairman? A billionaire? You lied to me." Mike paled. "Emily, I can explain. I hid it to find real love, not gold diggers. I love you for you." Tears streamed down my face. Love built on lies? I thought we were equals. Now I feel like a fool. He knelt. "Please don't leave. I'll transfer everything. Houses, cars, accounts, to you. It's yours." A package arrived the next day. Deeds to mansions, luxury cars, 10 million in banks, all in my name. "See? I mean it," he said. But trust was shattered. Family swooped in, Alex greedy for handouts, Gladys scheming. "Divorce him, take half." I shut them out, wrestling with betrayal. Was our love real? Or just another facade? The moment Mike's true identity as the billionaire chairman of Cascade Holdings came out, it was like a bomb exploding in our quiet little life. I stood there in our bungalow's kitchen, staring at the photos from that gala event, my heart pounding like a drum. "You're not just a cab driver," I whispered, my voice barely audible over the hum of the fridge. You're worth billions?" Mike, or should I say Michael Harrington, looked at me with those kind eyes I'd fallen for, but now they seemed shadowed by secrets. "Emily, I never meant to hurt you. I hid it because I've been burned before. Women who only saw the money, not the man." I felt a mix of betrayal and confusion swirling inside me. We'd built something real, or so I thought, on late-night talks and simple dates. Now, everything felt tainted. Mike stepped closer, his face etched with regret. "I love you for who you are. The strong, kind woman who dances Zumba after 12-hour shifts, who puts up with her family's nonsense without complaint. I wanted to make sure you loved me for me, not the empire. Remember our first date? You paid for your own coffee because you didn't want to owe anyone. That's why I fell for you." But before I could process it all, the family descended like vultures. Alex was the first to hear, through some gossip from a neighbor who'd seen Mike's face in a business magazine. He burst through the door that evening, eyes wide with greed. "Mom, is it true? Dad's loaded? Like billions?" He paced the living room, ignoring Sarah who sat on the couch, rubbing her belly. "This changes everything. I need a fresh start. Maybe $100,000 to pay off my debts and invest in a business. Come on. Family helps family, right?" I shook my head, still reeling. "Alex, this isn't about money. Mike lied to me, to all of us. We need to talk about trust, not handouts." But Alex wouldn't let it go. "Trust? Mom, we're talking life-changing cash here. Dad, you owe me for all the crap I've been through. I mean, you've got mansions, yachts. Hook your son up." Mike, standing quietly in the corner, finally spoke up. "Alex, I've already bailed you out more times than I can count," anonymously. "That $10,000 last month? That was me. But throwing money at problems doesn't fix them. If you want help, prove you're serious, get counseling for the gambling, stick to your job. Then we can discuss real support, like education or a startup loan with strings attached." Alex's face turned red. "Strings? I'm your stepson. You think you're better than us because you're rich?" "Mom, make him see reason," Sarah chimed in softly. "Alex, calm down. But a little help for the baby would be nice. Nursery stuff costs a fortune." Gladys, who'd overheard from her room, shuffled in with her walker. "Emily, you fool! Divorce him now. We'll sue for half his fortune. Think of Alex and the grandbaby. This is our ticket out of this dump." I felt like the room was spinning. "Everyone, stop. This isn't a lottery win. Mike and I need to figure out our marriage first." But the demands kept coming. Texts from Alex late at night. Gladys whispering schemes during breakfast. It was exhausting, like I'd traded one set of problems for another. Meanwhile, at work, things turned around in ways I never expected. Mr. Hayes, my boss, called me into his office the next day. His usually stern face was pale, like he'd seen a ghost. "Emily, I just learned about your husband, Michael Harrington, the owner of our entire hotel chain," he stammered, adjusting his tie. "I had no idea. All those times Vanessa undermined you, I should have listened. Effective immediately, you're promoted to VP of Guest Services. And Vanessa, she's out. Her harassment and credit stealing won't fly here." I blinked, stunned. "Mr. Hayes, how did you find out?" He shifted uncomfortably. "Mr. Harrington, your husband called the board, said he'd been watching how we treat employees. Emily, I'm sorry for overlooking you. You've earned this." Walking out, I felt a rush of vindication. Vanessa was packing her desk when I passed by. "This is your fault," she hissed. "You married money and now you're ruining lives." I stood tall. "No, Vanessa. You ruined your own with your bullying. Goodbye." It seemed that everyone in the department started treating me differently after the truth about my husband's identity came out. Some became overly flattering, trying to curry favor or asking for help. Others badmouthed their colleagues in front of me to elevate themselves. A few even sent congratulatory gifts, people who had once barely acknowledged my presence. The only exception was Sophia, a young girl who had recently joined the team. She remained humble, polite, and always lent a hand when I was overwhelmed. That's when I realized who my true friend was. But family debts didn't vanish with promotions. Alex's gambling resurfaced. He confessed owing another $75,000 to new lenders. "Mom, they're serious this time. Broken bones if I don't pay," Sarah cried in my arms. "Emily, he's trying, but the stress. Please help." I confronted Mike that night. "We can't keep enabling him, but he's my son." Mike nodded thoughtfully. "I agree. Let's pay this off one last time, but with conditions: mandatory therapy, financial counseling, and he works for Cascade. Entry level, $50,000 salary, no handouts." Alex resisted at first. "Therapy? I'm not crazy." But after lenders roughed him up, bruised ribs and a black eye, he agreed. "Okay, Dad. I'll do it. Just thanks." Watching him start his first day at Cascade, clocking in like everyone else, gave me hope. He even apologized over dinner. "Mom, Dad, I've been a jerk. Gambling ruined me, but I'm done. Therapy's helping. I see now how I hurt everyone." Then came a blast from the past. Ethan, the young man I had sponsored through college because he reminded me of Alex, driven yet struggling to find his way. Now 22 and graduated, he showed up at the hotel lobby one morning, looking polished in a suit. "Emily, we need to talk," he said, his voice low but insistent. I led him to a quiet corner. "Ethan, what's wrong? You graduated, congrats." He leaned in, eyes narrowing. "You promised more. Said you'd support me until I was on my feet. Now I'm jobless, and you owe me. We had something special, right? You cared about me." I recoiled. "Ethan, I sponsored you as a mentor, nothing more. That money was a gift, not a loan. What are you implying?" He smirked. "Come on, Emily. All those late-night calls, the encouragement, you led me on. Now with your rich husband, pay up, or I'll tell everyone about our affair." My blood boiled. "There was no affair. You're twisting kindness into something ugly." But he stormed off, and rumors spread like wildfire. Vanessa, fired but vengeful, amplified it on social media. "Emily Carter's a homewrecker, seducing young men while married to a billionaire." Co-workers whispered. Mr. Hayes pulled me aside. "Emily, sort this out. It's bad for the hotel." The confrontation exploded in the lobby that afternoon. Ethan barged in during my shift, shouting, "Emily promised me everything. Now she's dumping me for money." Vanessa appeared, arm in arm with her new ally, Harold. "See? I told you she's always been like this. Cheating on Tom, now on Mike. And that sponsorship? Code for affair. Guests stared. Security hovered. I faced them head on. Ethan, I helped you because I believed in you, not for romance. Vanessa, you're bitter because you got fired for your own actions. Harold, stay out of my life. Mike arrived, having been tipped off by a colleague. Enough, he boomed, his chairman presence filling the room. Ethan, we have records of every dollar, gifts, not obligations. Spread more lies, and you'll face slander charges. Ethan paled. But she led me on. Mike shook his head. No, son. You twisted help into entitlement. Leave now. Vanessa sneered. You're protecting a cheater. Mike turned to her. And you? Fired for harassment, now trespassing. Security, escort them out. As they were led away, Mike pulled me aside. Emily, I'm sorry. My secrets caused this mess. That night, Mike took me to a yacht on the Sound for dinner. Candles flickered as he knelt. Emily, I messed up hiding who I am. But I love you. The real you. Marry me again. Properly? He slid a $500,000 diamond ring on my finger. Tears welled. Yes, but no more secrets. We kissed under the stars, the city lights twinkling like promises. Family reconciliation flickered to life. Alex in therapy invited us to dinner. Mom, Dad, I'm sorry for the greed. Working at Cascade, it's humbling, but good. Earning my $60,000 feels real. Sarah beamed, holding Lily. We're grateful. Even Gladys softened over time, admitting, I was wrong, pushing you toward money instead of happiness. But shadows lingered. Vanessa and Ethan's threats weren't over. Still, with Mike by my side, I felt ready. Our love, forged in deception, was rebuilding on truth. The revelations didn't stop with Mike's true identity as the chairman of Cascade Holdings. If anything, they deepened, pulling me into a whirlwind of emotions I never saw coming. It all started at a charity gala for earthquake survivors, held at a grand ballroom in downtown Seattle. The event was inspired by the devastating quake that hit the region back in 2001, one I'd barely survived myself. Back then, I was a young woman in my early 20s, living in a small apartment near the epicenter. The ground shook violently, buildings crumbled, and I lost everything in the chaos. My home, my belongings, and worst of all, contact with people from my past. I'd clawed my way out of the rubble, but the trauma lingered, a shadow that followed me through my marriage to Tom and beyond. Mike had insisted we attend the gala together. It's important to give back, he said one evening as we prepared, adjusting his tie in the mirror of our new waterfront mansion. The house was stunning, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Puget Sound, marble countertops in the kitchen, and a home office that made my old apartment feel like a closet. But even with all that luxury, I still felt like an imposter sometimes. Besides, Emily, you've been through something like this. Your story could inspire others. I nodded, slipping into a simple black dress. All right, but I'm not great at these fancy events. I might just stick to the appetizers. He chuckled, pulling me close. You'll be fine. You're the strongest person I know. The gala was packed with Seattle's elite, business tycoons, philanthropists, and a few celebrities mingling under crystal chandeliers. Mike was in his element, shaking hands and discussing donations. I wandered the room, sipping champagne and chatting with survivors sharing their stories. That's when Vanessa cornered me near the silent auction table. She looked polished as ever in a red gown, her engagement ring from her exec boyfriend glinting under the lights. But her smile was sharp, like a knife hidden in silk. Emily, fancy seeing you here, she said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. I didn't expect the lobby manager to rub elbows with the big shots. Or should I say, the chairman's wife. Congrats on the upgrade. I forced a polite nod, not wanting to cause a scene. Thanks, Vanessa. What brings you here? She leaned in closer, her perfume overwhelming. Oh, Just networking. But I couldn't help overhearing some whispers about your husband. Mike's been searching for someone from his past, hasn't he? A woman he lost during the quake. Sounds romantic, or tragic, depending on how you look at it. My stomach twisted. What are you talking about? Mike's never mentioned that. Vanessa's eyes gleamed with mischief. Really? That's odd. I've got sources, old friends in his circle. He had a brief fling years ago, right before the earthquake. They had a daughter together, but he thought the mother died in the disaster. He's been quietly looking for any trace of her ever since. Funny how secrets come out, isn't it? She pulled out her phone and showed me a photo, an old snapshot of a young woman who looked eerily familiar, holding a baby. My heart stopped. The woman was me, from 25 years ago. The baby. Could that be? No, it couldn't. But the pieces started clicking. A one-night stand during a wild weekend in my youth. The quake separating us before I even knew his full name. I'd raised our child alone, thinking he'd abandon me. I felt the room spin. This can't be right. Where did you get this photo? Vanessa shrugged, smirking. Like I said, sources. Maybe ask your hubby. Oh, and Emily? Watch your back. Not everyone gets a fairy tale ending. She sauntered off, leaving me reeling. That night, after the gala, I confronted Mike in our living room, the city lights twinkling outside. I held up the photo Vanessa had texted me. Yes, she'd been bold enough to send it. Mike, explain this. Now. He sank into the couch, rubbing his temples. Emily, I didn't want you to find out like this. Sit down, please. Let me tell you everything. I stayed standing, arms crossed. Start talking. Who is this woman? And why have you been searching for her? Mike took a deep breath, his voice steady but laced with regret. 25 years ago, before I built Cascade, I was just a young guy trying to make it in business. I met a woman at a bar, one of those chance encounters. We hit it off, spent the night together. But then the earthquake hit. I searched for her afterward, but the chaos. Bodies unidentified. Records lost. I thought she died. Only later did I learn she might have survived, and that there could be a child. Our child. I've hired investigators over the years, but nothing panned out until recently. And the photo? I pressed, my voice trembling. That's me. Mike. That woman is me. His eyes widened in shock. You? Emily, are you serious? Let me see that picture again. He grabbed my phone, zooming in. Recognition dawned on his face. Oh my God. The hair, the eyes, it is you. But how? I didn't recognize you after all these years. The name? You went by your middle name back then, didn't you? And I was using a nickname. The quake separated us before we exchanged full details. Tears welled up as memories flooded back. Yes, I was Leah that night, short for Amelia, my middle name. You were Mick. I tried finding you too, but with the destruction, I assumed you'd moved on. And then I found out I was pregnant. I raised her alone. However, unfortunately, I lost her. She was my light, with her curly hair and curious eyes that mirrored mine. But money was tight as a single mom working odd jobs, and the stress built up. Then, one foggy morning in 2007, disaster struck again. A car accident on my way to drop her off at daycare. I swerved to avoid debris from ongoing quake repairs, crashed into a guardrail. I woke up in the hospital with a concussion and temporary amnesia, unable to recall details immediately. In the confusion, social services, thinking I was unfit or unidentified due to lost paperwork, placed her into emergency foster care. By the time my memory cleared and I fought through the bureaucracy, she was gone, adopted out in a closed process. I searched desperately for years, hiring lawyers on credit, scouring records, even posting flyers. Mike stood, pulling me into a hug, his own eyes glistening. Our daughter? Emily, this is incredible and heartbreaking. I can't believe the pain you've carried alone. I've been looking for you both for years, funding searches, even setting up scholarships for Quake orphans in hopes of a clue. We need to verify this. Dig deeper. My investigators can help, but no one knows who she is now. We'll start from scratch. The next day, after Mike's team ran discreet background checks and DNA leads, pulling strings with old Quake records, a shocking match emerged. The intern I'd been mentoring, Sophia, had a foster history tracing back to the 2001 disaster. Her adoptive records mentioned an unidentified baby found in the evacuation zone, matching the timeline. We invited her over for dinner to confront the truth gently. She arrived bubbly as always, her curly hair tied back, carrying a bottle of wine. "Hey, Emily, Mrs. Harrington now? This place is amazing. Thanks for inviting me." We sat her down in the living room, the tension thick. My hands trembled as Mike showed her the photo from Vanessa. "Sophia, there's something important we need to discuss. It's about your past and ours. This picture, it's from before the 2001 quake. The woman is me, and the man who took it was Mike. We believe the baby might be connected to you." Sophia stepped into the room, her eyes immediately drawn to the photo on the coffee table. She froze, staring at it intently, her face paling as if she'd seen a ghost. That picture," she whispered, her voice shaky. Without a word, she reached into her wallet and pulled out an exact duplicate, the same faded snapshot of a young me holding a baby, creased from years of being carried around. "This is the only thing my adoptive parents gave me about my birth. They said I was found alone after the quake, no ID, just this photo tucked in my blanket. How do you have the same one?" The room went silent as the realization hit us all. Mike's voice broke first. "Sophia, that baby is you. Emily raised you for those first months, but lost you accidentally in the quake's chaos. I've been searching for my child ever since. We're your parents." Sophia's eyes darted between us, processing, tears welling. "Wait, what? You two knew each other back then? And I'm that lost baby?" All my life, I felt like something was missing, bouncing between foster homes. No real roots. This photo was my only clue, a talisman I carried everywhere. But to find out now, it's overwhelming. She hugged the photo to her chest, then stepped forward, embracing me tightly. "Mom, if that's true, the pain you must have gone through, I forgive you. And Dad, we've got a lot to catch up on." Mike nodded, tears in his eyes. "Yes, that's us. Sophia, I've been looking for you both for years. I thought I'd lost you forever. Can you forgive me for not being there?" She stood, hugging him tightly. "Dad, this is surreal. All my life I wondered. Mom raised me alone, but I always hoped. Yes, I forgive you. We're family now." The family expanded overnight. Sophia moved into the guest wing, and we spent evenings bonding, sharing stories, looking at old photos. Alex was jealous at first. "So now there's a sister, and she's getting all this attention?" he grumbled one afternoon in the kitchen. I sat him down. "Alex, this isn't about favorites. Sophia's been through a lot too, growing up without a dad, just like you did after Tom left. Give her a chance. We're all in this together," he sighed. "Fine, Mom. It's just overwhelming. But if she's family, I'll try." Gladys, surprisingly, warmed up fastest, drawn by the wealth but softening genuinely. "Emily, I was wrong about Mike," she admitted over tea one day. "Seeing him with Sophia, he's a good man. I'm sorry for pushing you toward Harold. Can you forgive an old fool?" I hugged her. "Of course, Gladys. Let's start fresh." Debts were resolved once and for all. Mike sat Alex down in his office. "Son, this is the last bailout. $100,000 to clear everything. But conditions: therapy twice a week, no more gambling, And you report to me monthly on your progress at the warehouse job. Alex nodded earnestly. I get it, Mike. Dad, I won't let you down. Thanks for believing in me. At work, things soared. With Mike's influence, I was promoted to VP of Operations. You've earned it, Mr. Hayes said in a meeting. Your ideas have transformed the lobby experience. Vanessa's downfall sealed the chapter. Arrested for fraud, turns out she'd embezzled the $200,000 herself to fund her lavish wedding. She faced court. This is all Emily's fault, she ranted in her statement, but evidence showed her forging my signature and laundering funds. Mike's lawyers ensured justice. She got probation and community service, her career ruined. Karma, I whispered to Mike as we left the courthouse. Through it all, dialogues stretched longer, revealing hearts. No more short quips. We talked through pain, building understanding. The confrontations tested us, but emerged stronger, ready for whatever came next. 6 months later, life transformed. We lived in a waterfront mansion, but kept the bungalow for memories. Mike retired partially, focusing on family. Alex thrived at Cascade, debt-free, earning $80,000. Sophia pursued business school on scholarship. Gladys volunteered, finding purpose. I reflected, success isn't wealth, but trust. From lies to love, I told Mike. Our story inspired others. Comment if you've faced family deception. True measure, building together.